last 6 weeks was the largest exercise of democracy in the history of the world, and we commend the government of India, voters, and poll workers for this massive undertaking. I'm not going to speak to that in terms of the Prime Minister's coalition and the different government. Those are all choices for the Indian people to make, and we respect the will of the Indian people.
Is the U.S. planning to send any delegation for Prime Minister Modi's swearing ceremony over the weekend?
I don't have any announcements to make today, but stay tuned.
In the last couple of hours, there has been a series of congratulatory messages to Prime Minister Modi and his coalition government, there, including phone call by President Biden, tweet by Secretary Clinton. Is the U.S. planning to send any delegation for Prime Minister Modi's swearing ceremony over the weekend?
I don't have any announcements to make today, but stay tuned. We'll have something to say about that in the coming days.
From the perspective of Secretary Blinken, what are the key priority areas for India-U.S. relationship for the next government?
So we will continue to look to expand our partnership. We work with India on economic matters. We work with them to deepen people-to-people ties between our two countries, and of course we work with them on a free, secure, prosperous Indo-Pacific, and those will continue to be our priorities.
Now the U.S. is also headed into an election season, and India-U.S. every year have the annual 2+2 dialogue. Do you have enough time between now and November to hold the 2+2 dialogue?
So I don't have any announcements to make with respect to that dialogue, but it is an important priority for us. It's an important priority for the Secretary, and we will continue to hold it. But in terms of when it will happen, I can't tell you standing here.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. The last decade, of course, has been Prime Minister Modi's administration. What were the advantages of the last 10 decades, and going forward, the third term for Prime Minister Modi? What advantages does the U.S. see in this relationship?
So I'm not going to speak to that in terms of the Prime Minister's coalition and the different government. Those are all choices for the Indian people to make, and we respect the will of the Indian people. I will say that we will look to continue our work with Prime Minister Modi, as you've seen President Biden undertake since he took office. That will continue to be a priority through the issues I just spoke to a moment ago.
And now that the electoral test is over, many people doubted democracy in India. What is the U.S.'s take on the democracy and the way the elections have played out and the results have played out?
So India is, of course, the world's largest democracy, and the election that just played out over the last 6 weeks was the largest exercise of democracy in the history of the world, and we commend the government of India, voters, and poll workers for this massive undertaking. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. As you called largest democratic practice for Indian elections, but there is a dark side as well, maybe overlooked by Department of State. So from these elections, we have seen two jailed leaders got more votes than anyone else. From South Kashmir, Engineer Rashid, that is in Tihar jail, got more votes and he defeated like the former chief minister in Kashmir region, and then believe separatist leader, a Khalistani leader maybe. So Amritpal, he got more votes. So both are in jail and they got more votes from their people. So how do you see their victories specifically, and will U.S. consider or recognize the elections in internationally disputed region, Jammu and Kashmir, where from August 5, 2019, India unilaterally attempt to change its demography?
So I'm just not going to comment. With respect to the first, I'm just not going to comment on internal Indian electoral or political issues.